I Am Superman of Doom Chapter 28. Yi Meng didn't know how to evaluate. At this time, Tifa and Xiaolu, who were hiding on the side, walked out from the corner. Pan Hu was immediately embarrassed, feeling that the appearance of sitting on the ground just now must have been seen. Finding Pan Hu, Yi Meng and his group went down to the first floor of the teaching building smoothly, and many students were also surrounded by spaceships carrying aliens and could not get out. It's all blocked. What should I do? Pan Hu's eyes widened, and the flying giant almost surrounded the teaching building, isolating it from the outside world. Coupled with the fact that there are many unknown alien monsters coming out of it, the large examination hall has been reduced to a large hunting ground. Follow me. Yi Meng didn't say anything more, and took Tifa and the three directly to the storage room on the first floor of the teaching building. The door to the storage room here was closed, and as soon as he opened the door, Pan Hu was so frightened that he almost shot. But there was a person lying unconscious in the storage room. His face was covered by a tentacle creature the size of half a faceplate, and his neck was also wrapped around his tail several times. What is it? Tifa and Xiaolu both instinctively felt sick. It's a face-hugging worm. Yi Meng's face remained unchanged, stepped forward, and casually said, "This face-hugging insect was born by an alien queen similar to the queen bee. Looking for biological hosts such as humans to hold their faces, implanting alien twins from the mouth of the host, and using the human host body as a hotbed to cultivate juvenile aliens." Quote. Gag. The three of Tifa hurriedly covered their mouths, afraid that the face worm would hug their face. But the next scene is even more frightening. But I saw that Yi Meng suddenly stretched out his hand and directly grabbed the face-hugging insect wrapped around the man's face. Yimon, boss, classmates, Tifa, Pan Hu, and Xiaolu were all taken aback. However, Yi Meng easily grabbed the face-hugging insect, and the claws and tail of the face-hugging insect naturally hung down, and it had lost its live characteristics. After the face-hugging worm successfully finds its host to implant the alien twin, it gradually dies, just like a bee that has lost its tail needle. Yi Meng cut through the corpse of the face-hugging insect with his sharp fingers, smashed the face-hugging insect on a wall of the storage room. And the strongly acidic blood suddenly corroded the wall at a speed visible to the naked eye, revealing a gap that allowed people to pass. From this gap, you can see the view outside the school building. The three of Tifa were stunned. "Let's go. You can go out," Yi Meng said softly. After confirming that the spaceship was from an alien spaceship, Yi Meng learned that this spaceship was not O-type, but U-shaped. Therefore, one side of the teaching building is not blocked. 0032 faced the nightmare of 3 years ago. The brilliant sunlight outside unhindered from the melting hole into the storage room, dispelling the darkness. Sweep away the smog and shadows in Pan Hu and Bai Xiaolu's hearts. "We can get out of this damn place." Pan Hu was overwhelmed with excitement. Bai Xiaolu laughed so much that tears were about to flow out. Only Tifa, as if realizing something, pursed her lips tightly and looked at Yi Meng. The abundant light also makes the originally dark storage room brighter. Pan Hu suddenly shouted strangely, "Boss, this person is Xuanhuan." Amon looked down. It's true, the one who was entangled by the face-hugging worm just now is not Xuanhuan, who has been pursuing Tifa before. Because there was no face-hugging insect covering his mouth and nose, Xuanhuan, who was in a coma, made a breathing sound. However, Tifa, Pan Hu, and Bai Xiaolu all subconsciously looked at his gently heaving chest, and involuntarily shivered at the thought of the deformed monster hatching inside. "Give me the gun. You guys get out." Yi Meng glanced at the spacious and bright scenery outside, turned around and said, "Explain the situation inside with the people outside. And let them take a unified X-ray scan of the people who go out to confirm whether there are alien larvae in the body." Quote. "I know." Pan Hu nodded, and suddenly realized something. His eyes were round and staring at Yi Meng. "Boss, you don't go out with us?" Quote. Bai Xiaolu was also stunned, remembering what Yi Meng said just now, "You guys go out." "Not. Let's go out together." Yi Meng responded calmly, "Before I go out, I want to go to a place." "Boss, how does this work? You know how many monsters are in there?" Pan Hu was suddenly anxious, and said towards Meng Tifa, "Sister-in-law, you hurry up and persuade him." Quote. Meng Tifa was silent, and suddenly asked softly, "Can't you go if you don't go?" "It's not impossible." Yi Meng smiled softly and looked at Tifa, "But, I want to go." Quote. Tifa nodded and said calmly, "Then you go. Stay safe, come out early, I'll wait for you." No matter how she hides it. Speaking of, waiting for you, still with a little trill. "Good." Yi Meng bowed his head and took a deep look at Tifa. "I will come back. When the time comes, I will definitely go to you." After that, Yi Meng turned around and walked into the teaching building that turned into a dark purgatory again. Pan Hu and Bai Xiaolu looked at Yi Meng blankly, not knowing what he was going to do. But they knew it would take enough courage to dare to return to the area shrouded in death. Carrying a rifle against the crowd, Yi Meng returned to the corridor on the 3rd floor of the teaching building. And came to the cave in the inner ring of the bloodstained spaceship that seemed to lead to hell. "I really want to go outside. What the hell am I doing?" Yi Meng smiled helplessly, finally gritted his teeth, rolled over and entered the cabin of the alien spacecraft. The corridors and bulkheads inside the spacecraft are predominantly black, and the shape resembles the exoskeleton of some kind of creature. The interior was humid and hot, the air was circulating, and the smell of blood was permeated. Eamon's palm caressed the bulkhead, and his consciousness was like static electricity. Soon, Yi Meng's eyes brightened slightly. Sure enough, even if it is an alien spacecraft, he can operate built-in electronics. However, the range is the same 10 meters. Yi Meng let out a turbid breath and walked towards the depths while exploring the way with consciousness. As Eamon, he moved back to the details of the film. On this alien spaceship, there is one thing that is far more terrifying than the deformed creatures such as aliens and face-hugging insects. The name is Blackwater. This kind of thing is a biochemical weapon created by a creature like Alien Race in the movie of Alien Origins to destroy human beings. It will change when exposed to air and can be transmitted through water sources. Aliens, which are nothing more than black water, accidentally cultivated wrong creatures after infecting humans and aliens. In Yi Meng's opinion, this kind of thing, like the T-virus of Resident Evil, is a creation that should never appear in this world. Once it appears, it must be destroyed immediately. It's not that Eamon doesn't believe in the supernatural sector, but this kind of thing, only he knows how dangerous it really is. Once you have the slightest idea of research, it is time for mankind to kill itself. Therefore, Yi Mon must put an end to this possibility before the supernatural department or other agents can start to get started. This is not for humanity, but for Eamon himself. Once the black water spreads in the outside world, the real world is bound to fall soon, until there is no pure land on this planet. Even if the end of the world eventually comes, the world will eventually fall, occupied by all kinds of invading creations. Eamon, too, hopes to buy at least a little time for respite development, not now. Still, it's inevitable. Yi Meng suddenly sighed and heard a rustling sound coming from the front of the cabin. He held a rifle and a firearm in one hand, formed a hand knife in the other, and a silver light flashed in his eyes, cold as a robot. He began to get more and more comfortable with fighting. Treadling deep in the cabin of the alien spacecraft, the silver-haired boy kept panting. Since the bullet ran out, the gun had long been thrown away, and the skin of the palm of the right hand was corroded red. The real bullets are out of food. Yi Meng was so tired that his body was about to collapse, but his steps forward became more and more determined. Along the way, God knows how he got here. In addition to several face-hugging insects, he also encountered 2 aliens in a row. Yi Meng felt that it was a miracle that he could get here. Anyway, when you get here, it's almost time to end. Yi Meng lifted the last wisp of physical strength and walked into the cockpit of the alien spacecraft. As long as he is close to 10 meters, he can control the bridge through his mind, so that the alien spacecraft can start flying off the Earth again. This was also the only plan that Yi Meng had previously thought of to be able to stop the leakage of Blackwater on his own. First chapter, previous chapter 28 140th, next chapter, epilogue, table of contents.